internet can be a wonderful place. A place where people come together, help each other, and have ordinary adult debates about meaningful things. But in reality, the majority of the internet is not near that. Anyone who's spent a fair amount of time on the web has encountered what gamers call toxic people, or salty people. Those who can't take a death on a competitive game lightly, or simply those who want to make others feel bad for no apparent reason. This is not only restricted to the gaming community. We see this behavior on YouTube especially, but also all over forums and a variety of different topics. But one thing remains certain. The gaming community and industry has been renowned for their toxicity and unjust behavior for a while now. And while some are kind, there is a large number of gamers who participate in this sort of social interaction. I want to talk about why and how toxicity is shaping the gaming industry in some unfortunate ways and what it means for the future of gaming. Toxicity is rampant in online games. It manifests in many ways. On games like CSGO, Siege, PUBG, League, and pretty much any online competitive game out there, you can hear racial slurs, bullying, and unnecessary explicit comments when a woman enters voice chat. Personally, it is one of the reasons why I much prefer single-player experiences rather than online ones these days. I can distinctly remember being pushed away from a game like Rocket League, which I once played semi-professionally because of just how blatantly horrible some of the things people used to say were. I get very angry easily when someone calls me out unfairly, like in Rocket League because I got a goal and someone didn't like that. And Rocket League is considered one of the better communities. I've heard tons of stories of people turning away from their favorite games because of how harsh some players out there can be. And it's not only the opposing team, no way. People still yell and bully you even if they are on your own team. It is sad to see someone who works so hard to try and build a professional gaming personality on any major esport game, where they master the skills needed to play the game so well, only to be discouraged and rejected because of how mean some people can actually be. It is this behavior, the incessant rudeness, swearing, misogyny and racism that creates an extremely bad image for the game industry. It drives people away, for example, from thinking that gaming professionally is legitimate, or YouTube as a career is plausible, because lots think gaming is full of immature people who cannot handle being civilized. And again, I'm not saying this is everyone. A large reason that this problematic behavior occurs is because children are getting too exposed to competitive games at a young age, desensitizing them to shameful bullying and swearing unnecessarily. It projects a horrible image to those not involved in the industry and is causing backlash from not only gamers, but developers as well. This is something I don't necessarily agree with entirely, but it's worth a discussion. Some of you may know last year a game designer and programmer named Charles Randall explained why developers are not candid about development. He said that it is because of the toxic gaming community that being transparent means a dangerous backlash from gamers. He continues to say that if devs decide to say that working on an area of a game is difficult, many take to forums to harass and be hateful, resulting in dumb headlines and misunderstandings. He then goes on to say that a young kid came up to him once and told him that devs are bad people because of YouTubers he watched. It is an interesting tweet, and I'm going to break it down. First off, a large reason that gamers get so angry at devs is that sometimes the devs are truly screwing us around. I won't get into EA specifically here, but the gaming industry is becoming a multi-billion-dollar scam industry where some prefer to take money rather than produce bug-free and money's worth content. Again, I will not get into EA. We already know that EA falls directly under this category, but anyway. However, I do agree with him that many are too quick to assume the worst and just harass developers for no reason. I agree that young kids should not be so influenced to a degree such that they are able to walk up to a professional and slam them for things they don't even understand, such as bad engines and being greedy, without much context. Another interesting thing Randall mentions is the comparison to the film industry, where films are announced years in advance, and that sort of transparency would just not work with games. This I agree with too. The point here is how the game industry has changed since the glory days of single player and niche gaming experiences. And I mentioned it in this discussion because I think it is constructive to think about these responses from leading developers in the industry. I speak about this sort of false expectation with regards to optimization in Ubisoft in my first video on my channel if you want to check that out too. So the question still remains, Why are normal people like you or me, because yes, I am also somewhat guilty of being toxic every now and then, turned into these anger-filled monsters when you get shot by a teammate or spend days grinding only to be raided and killed? One of the primary root causes is anonymity. The fact that people sitting behind their PCs or consoles or phones, and that they have no consequences for what they say and do, they are free to harass and abuse and just be horrible people. Many just act this way for fun and because of entertainment, and for many, more problematically, it just makes them more and more prone to anger issues if they already have. This coincides with John Gabriel's theory of internet anonymity, where he explains that given an audience and complete anonymity, a normal person can turn into an asshole. Apart from this, a major cause of this increase in toxicity is what the gaming industry has recently become. If we look at a popular game reward system like any survival game ever, developers choose to make players grind and grind and grind until it literally feels like a chore. This can lead to frustration when lost, and then you simply repeat the process, making you more and more angry. A final cause could just be the extreme amount of children that play online games. This allows for no discretion and overexposure to more mature audiences, and since children are a lot more eccentric, causes an influx of immaturity and unnecessary vulgarity. So the next time you're playing your favorite game and someone calls you a, then maybe hit that magical mute button. Let their anger drown away into nothingness. It'll make you feel better. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was a fun video to make. I do not mean to upset anyone, I just wanted to make a good analysis of the toxic game community. We are all somewhat guilty, I think. Unless you're like a super kind person or something, I don't know. Please give me a like and a sub for your support. Thanks all. Tash Talks.